make the most of those days where we do feel like 110%, where our cup is overflowing. Make the most of those days. And then the other days where we're feeling not so great, okay, just use it as an opportunity to grow and surrender to God and ask Him to be your strength in your weakness, right? Hey guys, and welcome to my channel, Peace in the Promise. If you've not been here before, you are most welcome. Be sure to check out my blog, my Instagram, my Facebook, and all my social media. They are in the link in the description box. Today I was going to jump on and talk about, I am jumping on and talking about mum life. So adjusting to 2 under 2. So if you don't know, if you haven't been following me or don't know me or whatever, I have 2 kids. And my son, literally, he turned 2 like maybe 2 weeks ago. Do I remember? Yes, 2 weeks ago or so. So kind of, I don't really have 2 under 2 anymore, but it's like 2 under 2. I'm just saying 2 under 2 because it's 2 years old. Anyway, so, and my daughter is just over 4 months old. So I've got 2 under 2. And if you look back, there's a video that I recorded a while back when I just first started my channel last year. And it's called the baby adjustment. So I had 2. There was like the pregnancy adjustment and the baby adjustment. So you can feel free to go and check those out. But I think it's going to be very interesting because my video today might have different, like I might have a different viewpoint or perspective on some of the things that I spoke about in that video, which is great because it shows growth, it shows maturity, it shows maturity, what? I don't know, I'm hoping that I'm maturing. That's what we want, right? But yeah, so we're all on the journey, right? So I think if you watch that video and you watch this video today, you might see some contrast and you'll see that, you know, even in motherhood, it's a growth journey. You're always learning something, you're always growing, progressing, your capacity increases every day, right? Okay, so adjusting to 2 under 2, I must say I don't think I really knew what to expect, if I'm honest. Like I was just kind of like, the same way that I went through my labors and giving birth to my kids, I was kind of like, you know, I've heard stories, I have an idea, I've maybe read up on some things, but ultimately I'm just gonna kind of live it and see where this thing takes me, right? And yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised. Let me say that off the bat. I am pleasantly surprised. Like, I think I have adjusted to having 2 under 2 better than I adjusted to having 1 kid. Which sounds crazy, right? It's kind of like, but don't you have more on your hands? Like, aren't there more things to do? Yeah, but I think it was such a shock to my system having 1 kid. Like, I was a person, I had never changed a nappy, I hadn't been around babies, I was the youngest of 4 girls, I was used to being babied, I wasn't used to having a baby, do you know what I mean? So if that's you, there's hope for you, don't worry. I didn't feel like there was a maternal bone in my body, I did not feel like I was a nurturer, I didn't feel like I was any of those things, but lo and behold, I had 2 kids. But yeah, so literally, I think it was a shock to my system when I had Moses. Like, I think I put so much pressure on myself to maybe perform in a certain way, and there were so many internal pressures from myself, and I was thinking, oh no, I'm feeling pressured from other people, but really it was my perception of what was going on, right? I put so much pressure on myself to perform a certain way and to be a certain way, and I think, I don't know if it's because in my family, it's like we had the first grandchild to come, and I don't know if I was like, oh, I don't know, there was probably these underlying pressures that I placed upon myself that all resulted in me kind of being quite like, you know, that's, I think, I don't know if I didn't think I was anxious at the time, but now when I look back, I was quite anxious, and it was a new experience. So, you know, I've got to grace myself with that. It was new. I've never been with a baby before, like, and now suddenly I'm stay-at-home mom looking after this boy. I'm responsible for his life, and it was kind of like, whoa, there's a lot going on. So if you're around me at that time, I was probably a lot more uptight than I am now. Like, I'm probably still uptight, but then I think I was a lot more uptight because everything was new. I wanted to make sure I was doing things right. I wanted to make sure I was doing the right thing for my kids. So, you know, when I look back, I don't really regret how I was, because I think I needed to be that way in order to kind of establish my my confidence in being a mum. Do you know what I mean? I had to establish my own kind of routine, my own kind of way of how things were supposed to go in my own household, because it was all new to me, right? But this time around, enough about then, but this time around, I feel so much more relaxed. Even when I came back from the hospital, guys, I was chill. If you haven't watched my birth story video, go and watch it. I don't know if I can put it there or something, but watch my birth story video. I was so chill. Like, I came home from the hospital, I was smiling, I was happy, I was like talking to people. Last time with my son, I was like, look, I don't want to see people, I don't want people to come to my house. Why is everyone in my house? Can everyone just leave me alone? I'm trying to learn how to breastfeed, I don't know what's going on. But now I was like, yeah, okay, cool, do whatever. So yeah, it's quite nice. Like, I feel like I've adjusted to this better than I ever thought that I could have, and that's really the grace of God. Like, and even this time around, I remember last time I did have a bit of an antenatal, which is during pregnancy, and postpartum depression. Not to the extent of like, oh, I need to go on medication and that, but enough for, you know, when you have to fill out those surveys and that, it was kind of like a red flag in the postpartum depression scale that they give you throughout pregnancy and afterwards. So yeah, I did struggle a bit with that and with the anxiety, and you know, wake up and be like feeling dread. Like every morning I open my eyes and it's like I just want to go back to sleep and sleep for the whole day. Not because I'm tired necessarily, but because I just am dreading the day. I would look at my son and my husband and be like, I know, like somewhere in me I know that I love them, but I just don't feel like I feel flat. It's like this heavy cloud upon my head, you know. And it's crazy to even describe it now, because it's almost like I can't, even though I remember it, I can't, like I've not felt that this time around. And that's crazy, insane. And I'm so thankful to God. I really prayed and really just believed God. Not even like I was being like, oh, prayer and fasting or whatever. But I just really believed God like that. You know what, this time around it's gonna be different. And I think it really helped that I was more relaxed, because, you know, I've been through it before. It was less of a new experience. Yeah, so I just knew, you know what, if God's taken me through whatever I've been through, I know I'm going to be able to overcome this. I know I'm going to be able to get through this. So yeah, baby girl, she's beautiful. Amaya Grace, she sleeps through the night. And when I say through the night, I mean through the night. Like, she will sleep from like 7 or 8 until like 6 or 7 in the morning. Like, who does that? That's insane. It's crazy. Moses, like, we had to keep, like, we just have to, like, I would just pretty much bring him in the bed and then feed him, then he'd fall asleep, and then you try and move him back, and then, you know, it was just back and forth. But homegirl, she sleeps in her own cot. You leave her alone. If she's tired, she'll let you know. You can put it down, she'll get herself to sleep. I'm like, you do you, baby girl. Good on you, independent woman. Don't need no mama to put her to sleep. But anyway, she's so good. She's great. And yeah, my son, he's adjusted so well to it too. He really loves her so much. Like, he's so enthusiastic, and he's always like, ah, and wants to grab her and pick her up and all that stuff. And she's gotten used to him. Initially, in the early days, he would like yell and but yell like in a good way, like he's so excited and want to grab her, and she'd cry. But now, like, he'll scream and yell and grab her and poke her, and she just smiles. So I'm like, oh, their bond is forming. It's so beautiful. But anyway, back to me adjusting. I'm so thankful. I am so thankful. I am so thankful. Like, God has really just taken over all of this. Like, and if you talk, I think probably if you talk to any of my family members, they'll let you know I am much more relaxed, and it's crazy. It's like a crazy relaxed. But yeah, I just wanted to say all that, and then now let's bring a bit of the reality into it too, because oftentimes, you know, we can go through these things and we can make it seem like, oh, this is so beautiful, so wonderful. We take our pictures and they look cute, and I'm smiling and I'm happy. Today's a good day. Today's an amazing day. So, you know, but just like life, you know, it's like a roller coaster. There's good days, there's bad days, there's good days and challenging days and all of that stuff. So I also do want to make sure that I'm like putting like reality into it, if that makes sense, because I don't want someone to watch this and then be like, cool, everything's going to be peachy, I'm going to be happy every day, it's going to be amazing. Of course, you have your days where you're just like, just get me out of this house right now. Like, I'm ready to run down the street, not come back, see ya. You love your family, you love your kids, but you're like, today is the day I'm booking a one-way ticket to Hawaii and I'm not coming back home. Y'all fend for yourselves. If my kids watch this in the future, I love you so much. I love you. Yes, that's great. Anyways, there are definitely days where you are exhausted and you are operating from an empty cup. And it's not just exhaustion as in lack of sleep. I think people can often assume when you say that you're tired or you're exhausted that, oh, it's just because you've not slept. But it's like, no. I'm emotionally tired. I am responsible for the emotions, the very intense emotions of my little human being man, toddler man, you know, Moses, Then I'm responsible for the emotional needs for my daughter. I'm responsible for the emotional needs of myself. I'm here trying to maintain peace in my household. And me, I'm going through stuff too. I go through some hard situations. I go through some situations that make me want to just beat some people up, right? Let me be real. This is Peace in the Promise, but even Peace in the Promise wants to get real with people sometimes. Giving people uppercuts. But that's why it's like, I really... like I really had to surrender to God, and every day I'm relearning and I'm learning what it means to surrender to God, especially in the area of parenting, but in every area of my life. But I think sometimes it's like, you know, on those days where it's really rough, I don't know how we do it, but you just somehow you dig deep and you get through it. Those days where you open your eyes and you're like, I cannot deal with another tantrum today. I cannot even barely deal with my own emotions and whatever I'm going through right now. So I don't know how the heck I'm going to deal with my kids' emotions right now. And I'm not going to lie, there are days where I fall short. There are days where it's like I place my own emotional needs above their own. There are days where, because I'm going through something, and it might be very real what I'm going through, you know, it's like it's projected onto them, so I'm more impatient, I'm snappy, I'm like, why are you doing this, why are you doing this? I'm not as emotionally available as I need to be to them. And I'm not proud of it, but I think I have to be real about that, because then sometimes, like, if someone else is going through the situation and they're like, oh, I'm the worst parent ever, I've ignored my kid, or I yelled at my kid because they did this, you're not alone. You're not the only person that does it. We all do it. Like, if you're God-fearing, whatever, you can still scream at your kid or yell at your kid or discipline them and be like, I was a bit harsh there, I was a bit, you know, I could have listened to him more, or I could have, you know, seen the need that was deeper than what he was actually presenting at the time. You know, like, he's screaming, but it's probably because he's tired. He's screaming, but it's probably because I'm not giving him the attention that he needs today, and he has very real emotional needs that I need to help him with and to help fill, you know. So yeah, even the other day, I think even just yesterday, I was just reflecting, and journaling is so good, you know, for me anyway. Not everyone's a journaler, but I love to journal because I have so many thoughts, so many ideas, and if I don't journal, I will probably talk to my husband as soon as he comes home, like, non-stop throughout the night. And I do that anyway, so it's like, I need to journal, I need to write, and counseling too. Like, I now have a counselor, and it's been so good because it's like everything that you just want to pour out, you can pour it out, and you've got somebody there that can kind of guide you through your emotions and guide you through the pain and the confusion and all the frustrations that you go through in life, you know. And it's really, really good. So I would advocate for definitely, like, take up journaling or just some kind of meditating and counsel. Get some wise counsel in your life. It doesn't necessarily, you know what, I would say it doesn't have to necessarily be a formal counselor, but sometimes it does. Like, if you've got some real stuff that people can't help you with, your friends or whatever can't help you with, get yourself a real counselor. And ultimately, the divine one and only counselor, God, like, he's the one to help you, but he can also use the counsel of, you know, an actual accredited counselor to help you and guide you through the process, right? So yeah, I was reflecting yesterday, and I was like, I am not being the mum that I want to be. Like, yesterday, like, the week was good, but then yesterday it just dawned on me, and that mum guilt is real. You can be having a good week, but then maybe you have one bad day, or you just reflect on the week and on things that you can do better, that you could have done better, or you wish you did better. But I was like, I'm putting my phone above my kids. And it sounds embarrassing, and it sounds horrible, and I even wrote in my journal, I'm like, this is embarrassing to admit, like, this is so awful. Like, you know, the times where I could be looking into my children's eyes, I'm here like scrolling on my phone, right? And I'm like, it's not something I'm proud of, and it's like, I know what I'm doing when I'm doing it, so there's no excuse for it. But I remember journaling, I'm like, my fear is, like, one day I'm just gonna look up, they're gonna be grown, and they're going to be wanting to run off and do their own things, living their own lives, and the time that I could have had to really pour into them, really just look into their eyes and play with them and enjoy them, I've been wasting the time on my phone. And it's a real, you wrestle with it. This is motherhood, right? This is like part of the adjustment. Like, you are wrestling with, you know, I have my own needs and I have my own capacity, but also, like, I need to tend to their needs, you know what I mean? And it can be a bit of a wrestle. It can be a big wrestle. It's a wrestle that I often go through, you know, in parenting, and you're kind of like, am I doing the right thing? Am I giving them enough attention here? Am I disciplining them enough here? Am I teaching them enough here? Screen time, like, I give them all the screen time. And if you knew me before I had kids, or even when I just had Moses, I'm like, I'm not giving them TV time. We need to, you know, communicate with our kids and all that stuff. I still believe that. But some days, your girl is empty. And I'm like, look, I can't deal with reading this book for the 500th time today. Go and watch the TV. And I'll put something on and I'll be like, am I really this parent that's sitting and telling my kid to watch TV instead of reading to him? But at in that moment, it's because my capacity, I'm like, I'm ready to explode. Like I just have nothing left in me in that time, right? So I guess from that I can lead to the next point. Like it's also in this time around I have been incredibly more unapologetic about getting my rest, like having my time out, not just getting rest and sleeping, because I'm like, I get frustrated. Like my husband would always be like, oh, go lay down. I'm like, don't tell me to lay down. I don't need to lay down. I just need time alone. Everyone leave me alone. Stop touching me. I don't know if any other mums feel this way, but there are days where I'm all touched out. I'm like, nobody touched me. I've had kids hanging off me all day. I've had people trying to grab me all day. Nobody touched me. I just need like 2 to 3 hours of no touch time. Thank you. Maybe it's just me. I'm a bit introverted, so I'm like, yeah, I don't know. But there, I've been unapologetic about rest and actually going out and doing something for me. Like even my counselor was saying, he said something really, really powerful the other day. He's like, it was powerful to me. He's like, you know what, just do something for yourself. Yes, we always hear it, but he's like, you know, something that is aside from being a mom, aside from being a wife, aside from being like, even just like, you know, a child of God, not just a child of God, but aside from doing like ministry stuff, so even peace in the promise stuff, you know, just do something for you yourself, like not for anyone else, just something for you. Obviously something that is God honoring. I'm not going to go and start hanging off a pole or something, but hey, if you do that, you do you. I'm not here to judge it. You do what you got to do. But anyway, as for me, that ain't, you know, it's not what I'm going to do. So anyway, Lord forgive me. So you do what you gotta do. Honestly, no judgment here. I don't know what your situation is, so you do what you gotta do. Be free, but as long as you are honoring the Lord in what you are doing, that's what you need to be thinking about. So yeah, so I literally have started going back to the gym, and I got myself a personal trainer, and it was really an investment because I was always like, I'm not gonna, you know, why do I need a personal trainer? Like it's gonna cost so much money and yada yada yada. But I was like, this is an investment into my health, and it's not just my physical health, because me, when I exercise, it's for my mental health. I don't necessarily go there and I'm like, oh, I want to be like this and be like this. The other stuff is a bonus, but me, I know exercise benefits me up here. Like if I don't exercise, you should see me. I'm like hanging off the walls. Like my husband comes home and I'm like, we literally do a handover, and I'm like, ask the kids over to him, and I'm like out the door. Like I need this, I need the gym, because if I don't, I'm a whole nother person. Like you don't want to be around me if I've not had that time to myself to just exert some energy and do something that I know is for me and that I know is benefiting me. And in that, you know, it's good because then I can better I can be a better mom. I can be more present with my kids because I know, okay, I've had that release. I know I've had that time for myself. I'm doing something for myself, as well as, you know, okay, now I can come back and pour out to these kids. Even Jesus did it, right? I don't know all the details. I don't know what he was doing, but there are times in scripture where you see that he would just pull away and go somewhere to pray. I'm sure he could. I wonder if Jesus was introverted. That's my real question. I wonder if he was an introvert, but he just had to talk to all these people, but he was really deep down. He's like, I can't wait to just go by myself and just talk to my father. I guess I'll find out when I get to heaven. But anyway, that's my prayer. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm rambling in this video, but I've missed videos like this. I just wanted to have a chat with you guys and really just be honest and real about, you know, motherhood and adjusting to 2 under 2. Like there are days where you just cry because you're exhausted, and it's just like, I'm exhausted, like mentally, emotionally, physically, in all ways, shapes and forms, and you are just operating. Some days you operate out of an empty cup and you really just don't know how you're going to get through the day, but then God, somehow you dig deep and God just helps you to get through the day. Like you really see the faithfulness of God, and you really see the embodiment of that scripture of, you know, it's in my weakness that his strength is perfected. Because there are days, a lot of days, I'm gonna say most days, but you know, a lot of days where you are weak and you're like, there's nothing more I can give to these kids. I don't even know what to, like, and you're just staring into the fridge like, what can I give these kids to eat? Like, you know, if I make this, he's not going to eat it. If I make this, you make something, they don't eat it. You're like, God, I don't know if you believe in the ministry of laying hands, but normally I don't. But Lord, I'm being tested today. You know what I mean? So some days it's really rough. Some days it's really, really rough. But you know what? It's all a blessing. Like, and it shows you that blessings can also come with responsibility. So we ask for things, but it's like, are we willing to actually take on that responsibility of carrying that blessing through? You know, am I willing to? It's all sweet and great to get pregnant. You're like, oh my gosh, it's so sweet, so cool. But this is a whole life. This is a whole human life with their own purpose, with their own needs, with their own personality. It's not an extension of me. It's not an extension of, you know, you. They are like their own person with their own purpose. You know, the scripture says, you know, before I formed you in your mother's womb, I knew you. So even our kids, he knew them. So it's not for us to then dictate like, oh, you have to be this and you have to be this. And, you know, I said in what's it called? There's my collaboration with Beauty Empowered, or Shades of Ebony Beauty, in their blog, Beauty Empowered. They asked me a question about, you know, motherhood and parenting. And I pretty much said, you know, I'm always in a constant process of learning how to not just parent like in a way that's just convenient for me, or not try to dictate my kids or make them into something that is convenient for me. Like, okay, I don't feel like being touched today, so get off me, like go away, like go and play with your toys. Or I don't feel like reading today, so da 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 da. Do you know what I mean? I need to attend to their needs in accordance to, you know, their own purpose, their own calling, their own nature, if that makes sense. You know, I can't just parent them in a way that's convenient for me. You're irritating me, so go and do this. Or I'm tired, so I can't do this. Do you know what I mean? It's all about balance. You know, it's a tricky balance, and I can't say that I've got it. Obviously, I've only got 2 kids under 2. So if you ask me in 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, I'll probably have different answers and a different response, maybe a slightly varied response. But me right now, where I am, this is how it is. You know, I'm still juggling. It's still a juggle. There are days where I feel like I just never get to do what I want to do, and that frustrates me. Let me be real. But I just have to surrender that to God, and then also try and make that time to do what it is that I need to do. You know, communicate that to my husband and the, you know, the support network that's around me, so that, let's say, if they reach out and say, hey, do you need some help, that I can actually accept that and be like, cool, let me accept that help, so I can have some time to myself, or have some time to do what it is that I feel like I'm called to do. It can be really, really tough sometimes. You know, you feel like sometimes like you're just treading water and you can barely remain afloat. But then there are other days where, like today, you feel like Superwoman. You get the stuff done. You get to the end of the day, the kids have had no screen time. They've had like good food. You've even managed to go outside with them, and you manage to get all the stuff done. You know, it's a balance. And I think it's about not necessarily pitching one day above another, thinking, okay, this is the optimal day, this is what I have to do every day, because you are a human being and you're not going to be able to function at that level all the time. Some days you're going to be sick, some days you're going to be exhausted, so you're not going to be able to reach that level. But I think what we need to do is, you know, make the most of those days where we do feel like 110%, where our cup is overflowing. Make the most of those days. And then the other days where we're feeling not so great, okay, just use it as an opportunity to grow and surrender to God and ask Him to be your strength in your weakness, right? But yeah, that's my video. That's all. I could keep talking, but then it will be like a half-hour video and no one will watch it. So anyway, that's the end of this video. But I just want to hear from you guys. I want to hear any questions that you have, whether it's in regards to parenting, motherhood, being a stay-at-home mom, purpose, calling, marriage, friendships, whatever questions that are on your mind that you want to ask me. Feel free. I don't have all the answers, but as you can see, I like to talk, so I think it can be interesting and nice to hear different perspectives on issues. You know, my perspective is not the only perspective, which is what God is constantly teaching me. I get it wrong, everyone gets it wrong, but I think it shouldn't stop us from having a dialogue. It shouldn't stop us from talking about stuff, right? That's the whole purpose of this Peace and the Promise, you know, to let people know you're not alone. So you're not alone in this walk, and just be sure to yeah, just walk in boldness today, walk in confidence, walk in the light of God. He is your strength and your weakness. You can get through this. If you're pregnant, if you're expecting, if you've just had a baby, if you're thinking of having babies or whatever, it's like God gives you the grace to do it. Like, it's insane. Just because you might have a day where you cry or you might have a day where you're frustrated, it's not the end of it. Like, and that's not all of it. There are days where you are completely elated, you're so excited, you're so thrilled with the gift that he's given you, you know, and every day you're thrilled with the gift that he's given you, but some days you're tested a little bit more than others. So but yeah, that's all. Be sure to like and subscribe, and let me know if you like videos like this. I've missed doing videos like this, like more just lifestyle and just chatting and being casual and stuff. So I'll probably be doing a lot more of these, but be sure to like and subscribe. Like this video, subscribe to my channel, and check out, oh, there's my daughter, and check out all my other social medias. But yeah, until the next video,